Hi folks, here we are in Hershey, Pennsylvania at the AACA Car Museum. So we're going to show you all the stuff in there, but there's a few things in the parking lot. We'll walk around these first. We do come down to the swap meet here in the fall, but we're out here in the spring right now because at that time of year we can hardly get away and get up here with our trailers and stuff. So we're going to do it now while we're up here and just enjoy the video. We'll start walking around. Well, we'll just show you these few that are out front here while we're here, and then we'll get into the museum. This is a Chevy. Looks like a 36 Chevy, I believe. But it's like I don't know if it's an airport limo or what this thing is. It has a stretched out body, doorway at the back. Pretty wild. That's really cool. And then we got an old bus here. We'll get around the front of this, see what it is. Notice the taillight on there. And we got a Roadway Express tractor trailer here. It's an International. Got the old polished stainless steel box on it. And this is a 1967 Walter V-plow truck right there. That's pretty wild. Check out what the bus is real quick, and we'll get inside there. This one's a 1935 yellow coach. It tells all about it if you want to read about it. Nice old bus. Look at the heavy wheels and tires on that thing. It's a pretty short bus too, but it can carry some weight. But anyway, we're parked right over here. We're going to go into the museum right up there, and we'll show you inside there. Well, we got a little Dodge Brothers here. I think they got that for kids to sit in, take their picture and stuff. Just out front, I can see a Buick wagon inside the glass there, but I was just going to show you this Hershey Kiss car over here. There it is, the Hershey Kissmobile. Kind of wild. Well, we're going to start in this room here. They got all kinds of different stuff in here. There's the assembly line. Here's a scale model of a bus there. 41 flexible clipper. Anyway, there's a bunch of stuff as you come in back in here. I don't know if I can show you any, but you gotta watch out for the music back there. But they do have, there's quite a few different cars out in there. You can kind of see there's one Woody there, and there's some around the corner there. But anyway, we're gonna start over this way because of the music out in the front. Maybe we'll show you those after. But little word of advice, if you come here, bring your AACA membership card, because then you get in for free, which I didn't know. Of course, they couldn't possibly look it up on the computer. That would be too simple. 32 Studebaker there. It's a nice two-door. Look how long that door is. Wow, that's one of the longest doors I've seen right there. Look at that. It's going to be pushing, 4 to 5 feet on that door. Pretty wild. Nice looking Studebaker. And they have little things like this, tells you about the trunk, storage, and all that kind of stuff. Different things they can tell you some history on or usage of. Here's where we are right now. This is something else here. But anyway, we're at the AACA Car Museum here in Hershey, Pennsylvania, like we mentioned. And this is quite a collection they have, and we haven't been able to hit it yet because of the fact that we're usually doing the swap meet and just don't have the time. 1911 Buick. Nice looking roadster. That's a good Survivor, barn find, original. Look at the little fuel tank back here with the Buick emblem on there. Right-hand drive back then. All the brass lights and everything on that. But they've got quite a display here. There's a 1896 Benton Harbor, made in Benton Harbor, Michigan right there. Pretty wild. That was a carriage company, which a lot of them were, like Studebaker made wagons and stuff. There was different carriage companies that turned into automobile manufacturers. This is a Hudson Terraplane right here. We've had these before. Good looking Hudson. Has the wrong headlights on it, I can tell you that right there. Steel beam headlights. Suicide doors. This one's a coupe. Tells you some of the innovative features right there. You can check them out. Good looking with the swoopy fenders. Notice the body lines that go down the fenders and everything. Suicide doors, fender skirts, got a rumble seat. That one's a 1935 Terraplane. Here's a Stearns Knight. It's a cutaway engine. Tells all about it here. I'll try to show you as many of these as we can. Made in Cleveland, Ohio. There's all that information. So you can pause on any of these things you want to and read them. Shows the sleeve valve deal there. And that's all the cutaway motor to show you the operation of it, and the transmission, and the clutch and everything. See it all in there? Pretty cool. Here's a 1930 DuPont. And these are a top-notch car right there. Made in Wilmington, Delaware, it looks like. Look at even the gas cap has a DP, DuPont. Here's the golf club back door there. Put the clubs right in there for the gentlemen that play golf. This one's got great looking styling. Look at the split windshield, the wire wheels. Got the accessory headlights and the parking lights. Quite a car, that DuPont. All right, we've got a 1925 Dodge Brothers here, made in Detroit, Michigan. That one's a touring car. It's got the side curtains. That's one of the things that they're showing you on that one. Right there to keep the weather out. Kind of cool, all the background stuff they have here. Here's an 1897 Aldridge, made in Massachusetts. Right there, basically a motorized buggy. Notice the two chain drives on either side of the axle. There is an elephant on top there. I'm not sure what that's about, but this is a 1969 Opel station wagon. Mini Brute. There's all your information. Over here we have a Dodge station wagon. I guess these are kind of showing the family trucksters here. The grocery getters. It's a 1967 Dodge Polara station wagon. Showing you an old commercial there. Lucy and Desi looks like. There's a 57 Ford retractable. This is the hard top where the whole top retracts into the trunk. Pretty cool car right there. There's some of your information. Tells about the retractable top there. There's a 64 Pontiac convertible. Floor mounted shifter on that one. And we got a Model A back in there. We got a Chevy in the middle. And we got a 1940 Ford convertible right here. Look at the old, looks like a hotel or something, I guess. 50s looking styling on that. Over here we have a Nash. 1953 Nash right here. This kind of shows you in the back seat of a Nash, you could have a bed. You fold down the rear seats, and there's a bed back there. Good for traveling salesmen, stuff like that. Look at all the other memorabilia around here. This looks like an old service station right here. Got the Atlantic Wayne 60 gas pumps. Look at this thing here too. This is a headlight tester. I've had a couple of those before. The station wagon here, Chevy. Good looking little tin Woody. These originally would have had wood graining in these panels right here. Wood graining on this side panel. You know, kind of get away from the Woody, but you know how in the 60s and 70s they had the faux wood on them, so that kind of was leading up to that. But this is a really cool looking service station here, basically. You got all kinds of stuff in there. Look at the Coca-Cola cooler. All kinds of people honking horns back there. You got all kinds of collectibles in here. Look at all the Capital motor oil cans up in there. Neat little toy service station down there. There's some cool stuff in here. All kinds of the Atlantic cans. 8-point driveway service. And they got all kinds of stuff in here as well. You look up there in the window, see all the cool stuff. Well, we'll jump back in here. Here's an AMX. This is AMC shot at a muscle car right there. American Motors. Two-seater. And they really did well. I think it was Mark Donahue raced them, and you know, they did real well in the racing circuit. Tell us about the side pipe exhaust right there. '69 AMC, made in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Oh, this is cool. Look at the Lincoln Highway marker there. The sign, there's a little Lincoln medallion on it. Tells about the highway right there, shows a map of where it is. DX at the fuel station. Travel center shows a map of where you're headed. Kind of like you see at the rest stops. And now there's all this maps you used to get. This is before GPS and cell phones and all that. You'd have to get a paper map and show you where you're headed. There's a Corvair van. Yeah, just kind of pan around here. Here's the front of that Chevy wagon I was showing you. Look at the this building too. Refreshments, it says in there. And we got a Chrysler Town and Country Woody wagon. This is made to look like a drive-in theater here. You can see the movie theater up on there. There's a Studebaker with a sliding roof. This tells about it there. 64 Studebaker, and you can kind of see it right there in operation. That roof slides ahead so you can get stuff in the back a little easier. Look at all the refreshments here. You get your Coke and a hot dog and everything in there. And there's the drive-in theater. That's a Daytona Studebaker. Here's the front of the Chrysler Town and Country. This is a Hudson Hornet right here. And I'm trying to figure out what this one, this is a big impressive car here. You gotta get around to the front of that one to tell, for me to tell anyway. We'll jump around the front there. Yeah, we'll get up on it here. This is the Hudson, that's a 54 Hudson. Tells about the cable-driven wipers. So they try to show it, you know, a little different history on stuff, like one thing that these cars have. Oh, this is a Cord, okay. It's got a straight 8 engine under there. You can tell Cords because they got a front wheel drive. Notice the big chunk under the grill there. But Auburn, Cord, and Duesenberg had top end cars. Those are some of the best cars ever made. And that is a 1930 Cord. Tells about a unique dash gear shift right there for back in the day, Auburn, Indiana. We also have a video out of the Auburn Cord Duesenberg Museum. You can check that out. We went out there last year. It's a 57 Chevy Nomad. Pretty cool old looking motel there. Got a Chrysler New Yorker station wagon. Showing it go down Route 66. Got a Cadillac here, convertible sedan, and a Buick convertible sedan. This is a 1940 Buick. Notice the Wyoming plate on the Cadillac. And they got a used car dealership here with all the flags and stuff. It's kind of cool. We'll jump around to the other side over here and show you some of these. We got a Corvair over there, and we got a 57 Chevy sedan delivery right here. Tells a little about it, made in Detroit. And we got a Zoe, 1984 Zoe right there. Tells a little about it right there, made in Japan. There's some of the features of it. And we got a 59 El Camino. 59 Chevy El Camino right there. Tells about utility coupe. This tells a lot about the station wagons. Family mobiles. Look at the travel stickers in the back window there. You got Vermont, Asbury Park. So this one's a Chrysler, 73 Chrysler right there. And we've got a 59 Cadillac showing you the tail fins on it. There's the back end of the Buick and the Cadillac right there. Good looking cars. Pretty cool place. Well, in this room we've got a lot of Tucker stuff. Here's the Tucker motor right there. Tucker Eagle engine number 1. And we got a Tucker aluminum dual overhead cam engine. And it kind of shows you the body style up in there. A lot of different Tucker history here. Johnny Seymour racing car there. But we'll keep going here. There's a Tucker Tiger right there. Like a tank looking mobile. We'll jump around to this side here. Turn the wheel on the Tucker here. I guess they can have kids and stuff try the steering wheel on the fake front end of a Tucker to show you the, that's to show you the 3-beam headlights. Notice the 3 headlights there, and you can aim them onto that and see how it is. And over here we have Tucker number 1026, 1948 Tucker right there. These are really sought after the movie they did back in the day, and that really jacked the price up on them. But these are prototype Tucker engines, like this is Tucker prototype number 7. Another one with a cord transmission and a Tucker radiator. Notice all the electronics on the cord transmission back then. Kind of interesting to have all these different prototype engines. This is a Franklin. This one's a Franklin. Tells all about it there. Another prototype. These are all different prototypes of them. This one's air-cooled. Well, most of them are air-cooled, I guess. Some of them are air-cooled, some aren't. Cord transmission housing. And this kind of shows the final engine that they had. They did produce several cars, most of which, I think all of which, except for one, maybe still exist. I think they made about 50 cars or so, approximately. And we got another one on this side, but this whole room is dedicated to Tucker stuff. Here's the front suspension. Trial and error with suspensions, tells all about it. And there's a cutaway here. And this one you can actually crank. This crank, you can see the pistons, the crank going back and forth. You can see the valves here on the side open and shut when you crank that. Pretty cool. Here's some line drawings or plans and stuff of Tucker stuff. Here's a prototype of a Tucker. That was pretty wild. A little different than what it ended up looking like. All kinds of Tucker memorabilia. Look at the funky brake drums there with the air cooling fins in them. They had a lot of innovative stuff for the Tucker. There's some new old stock stuff in there. Hubcaps and door handles and a horn. Air cleaner. These are actual letters and stuff from the factory and some of the employee badges up in there. And there's a scale model, a design model for it. Now this one does not have, this must be a, let's see what it says about it. It looked like it was fiberglass, so that one's, this one over here is the real deal. This one's a movie car right here. That's what tells about it right there. So that one was used in the movie because they didn't want to use the real Tuckers and damage them or something with so few existing. There's a bunch more parts. Taillights off number 1018 slid into a tree. There's the taillight soffit. So pretty cool. They got all these different parts and stuff. There's a helicopter engine. Tells a little about it right there. 47 Tucker helicopter engine right there. That's pretty wild. And here's a Tucker dealership service. Here's a chassis off of one. Now look at the tubing going all over the place. Looks like a spider web there. That tells all about it. But it shows you all the different aspects of the chassis. These were really rugged. I mean, look at the outside of this. You can smash right into the side of this thing. You get T-boned or something. Probably won't even move. Crash bumpers and all that. There's the radiators out front. Radiators would be in those two little grill areas on them. And here's another Tucker here. 1001. It's the first of the 50 production. Tells all about it. So I was right, there was 50 of them. That tells all about it. There it is right there. Up on a pedestal. Pretty cool. A lot of Tucker stuff. Quite a collection of Tucker stuff. There he is right there in the pictures. Well, up here we got the comparison of the 2024 Bronco and the original first series Bronco here. This is the old one here. This one's 1970. That shows you the difference between the two. There it is right there, 1970 Ford Bronco. Nicely restored one. Well, we're down in the basement. We just come down what seemed like an endless stairway. There's a 1912 Delaney Bellevue. This kind of tells a lot of the history of it. You can pause on any of that you want to and read it. Look at the barrel-shaped nose on it. It's pretty wild, huh? Open front for your chauffeur, right-hand drive. What is this, a Crosley? Yep. This is a Farmer Road. These are pretty cool here. There's a photo stop. You can get into this one. These were sold as a garden tractor, or you could drive it on the road. Notice some tractor tires in the back. Crosley made little compact cars and stuff, and that was one of the products they had. Look at the collection of pedal cars here. All restored nice. This tells all about them here. What they are anyway, the models of what they are. Well, it does tell, some of them tell too, like if they're Steelcraft, Genron. So some of them do tell the actual company of the pedal car, Garton, Steelcraft. It also tells what models of cars they were. Look at these gas pumps as you're going down in here. This is kind of cool here. You can test the Monroe shocks. You push down on these handles, see how they operate. Here's the restrooms back that way. Well, they got some different things back in here. Here's a Briggs & Stratton, 1919 Briggs & Stratton there. And we got some different dirt bikes and stuff along in here. If you're into that kind of stuff, look at the hubcap Christmas tree there. But we're going to jump back in here, finish up these cars before we go in there. Look at the Buick and Pontiac dealership sign. There's the Hudson Terraplane porcelain sign up there. Got a jukebox here. What do we got in here? Looks like a scale model train set here. See the trains coming through. You are in Pennsylvania, so trains are real popular down here yet. There's a model train. Look at the balloons hanging up there. All kinds of stuff going on in your model train set. And we got some scale model trains along on the sides here in the cases. Some up on the walls. There's some standard gauge. That's the stuff I like. Right down there in the bottom. I'll show you a few of these. This is a 1954 Seaberg jukebox. Look at the Coca-Cola diner there. It's kind of cool. This one's a 1925 Ford Model T. Little Coca-Cola delivery truck. Look at the bottles and stuff in the back. That's pretty cool, all restored. Wooden body on it. I guess you can actually go inside the little diner here and see what there is. Here's all the stools, the counter, with the old malt makers or milkshake makers. There's all your china and your stove back there, your oven or grill. There's an Olds 98 here. Nice looking Oldsmobile right there. That one's 1959. We'll jump over to this side here. We got a Buick Woody wagon. Good looking Buick here. This one's 1948. I'll show you some of the signage if you're interested. The next thing we see here is a Daytona convertible, Studebaker. Here's a sign about it, 1964. Right there, there you go. Here we got a Rambler, 1965 AMC Classic Rambler convertible. There's all your information on that one, Kenosha, Wisconsin. We got a Hearst Olds there. Got a Lincoln Continental here on a turntable. Just kind of show you a few of these up here while the music isn't going. Got a Kaiser Darren here. Retracting pocket doors here tells about the doors, which we've talked about those in a few videos. We've seen a few of those. 54 Kaiser. This tells about all the volunteers and stuff there. They put their name up on there. We got a 56 Buick wagon. We got a 66 Thunderbird here. It's got a hideaway steering wheel, tells on there. There's a Thunderbird. And we got a Dodge Woody wagon here, Dodge Brothers. This one is a 1926 Dodge Brothers right there. Well, here's a Oldsmobile, 79 Olds right there. And a 89 Chevy Camaro. There's a couple of the posters here if you want to pause them. 65 Pontiac GTO convertible. And we got a Camaro here. Oh wow, look at this side here. What is this one? This one's a Pierce Arrow, 1928 Pierce Arrow. Notice the headlights. We've mentioned that on some other videos. That's the Pierce Arrow trademark as well as the Archer. But they were top notch back in the day. Tells you all about it right there. But we'll keep going here. Get over on this side. Here's a Stearns Knight, 1929. Got suicide doors on it, which is unusual for that time period. Here's a Lincoln. Something a little newer. Pan over this way, we got a 47 Ford sedan right there. Look at I think this is probably a Fagel safety coach. I'm not sure. It looks like a Packard radiator on it. Maybe it is let's see what it says here. Oh yeah, it is a Packard chassis on it. I guess it's made off of a Packard chassis. It's pretty wild, huh? See if it tells about it back there. Yep, 17 Packard. Big 6. Tells all about it right there. Wow, look at this. A white cement mixer up in here. That's pretty cool. Look at all the signs on the walls there. Bus signs, trailways, all kinds of stuff up in there. This is nice too. Forrest Gump right there. GM coach. This is a movie star. This is the bus that Forrest Gump got onto, or Jenny, I guess maybe. And Forrest watched her right away. There it tells all about it right there. Well, this one here is a Fagel. That's what I was thinking. The other one was at first, but the other one was a Packard. But this is a Fagel safety coach here. There's all kinds of bus history too on all these signs and stuff. Notice the Spokane sign plaque on there that tells all about it. Made in Oakland, California. They made some really cool buses. And you see a lot of toys of those, cast iron, pressed steel toys of the safety coach as well. Here's some of the uniforms here of the bus driver. Here's a yellow coach, 1929 yellow coach. And we got an International here, 1936 International C-Series. We've had quite a few of these International trucks like this. This one's a bus. Here's a white, I think these are used in the Yellowstone State Park, stuff like that. Here's another white bus there. That's pretty cool. Here's another Pierce Arrow, 1917 Pierce Arrow Roadster. There's a nice scale model of a bus back in there too. Here's an early Packard, 1914. And we got a 1921 or 3 Cadillac chassis right here. They've pulled the head off it to show you all the internals. You can see inside the transmission and stuff. Cut away on the rear axle as well. There's a little scale model bus. And if you go down these walls, is all the history of the bus traveling. We'll jump over here to the middle aisle, then we'll get upstairs. There's a Saturn here. I don't think they make Saturns anymore. They did for a while. 94 Saturn. Here's a Buick chassis here. 26 Buick, and here is a Stevens Duryea. That's a pretty high-end car right there. Notice the 2 spare tires back then. It's got all the brass lights and right-hand drive as well. A little Model A Roadster pickup, a 1929. Nice looking little speedster here. This one's a 1910 Auto. OTTO. And we got a Stearns Knight. Those would use the sleeve valve Knight engine, like we showed you earlier. Here's another Stearns Knight, 1912 Runabout. And we got another Stearns Knight here, 1914. Notice the nice porcelain Michigan plate on that one. Boy, this one's a beast. This is a 1917 Pierce Arrow. And notice the earlier ones, some of them did not have the light out the fender. They were like that. They come around with that at some point. And we got a little MG Roadster here. And a LaSalle. This is a Cadillac LaSalle, which is a little bit downgraded Cadillac in 1933. And that's an International High Wheeler. Basically a buggy on wheels, but it was a truck. We're gonna jump upstairs. Well, this area is full of motorcycles and tools. Look at the police motorcycle. Here's a bumper car. But there's all kinds of dirt bikes. Quite a dirt bike collection here as well. The only issue is we're getting low on time here, so we gotta get upstairs. They're saying over the intercom they're gonna kick us out at 30 minutes before closing time if we don't get up there, so we gotta get going. But there's all kinds of Husqvarnas and different dirt bikes here. Quite a collection there. Yeah, we're up on the top floor here. Got all kinds of scale models up in here. And we got a little Cushman utility vehicle with a sidecar, 1947. This is cool too, a 1921 Evans, basically a bicycle with a motor on it. And here's an all wooden 1906 Waltham, made in Waltham, Massachusetts. I've been there before. And we got all kinds of different dirt bikes along here. Look at all the buses. There's a huge bus collection here. Toy buses, scale model buses. Some of these are pretty impressive. This is a Triang here. We've had those before. Made in the UK. Look at all the Greyhound buses. Those are scale models for the Greyhound depots and stuff. There's a Keystone bus there, big pressed steel one. This is a nice one here, cast iron. See, that's like the Fagel safety coach or that style. Maybe it's a white. These are pretty rare right there. Steelcraft, that Airstream bus or Airflow bus. All kinds of them. School buses there too. Some are lunch boxes. So there's all kinds of dirt bikes and stuff in this room, but we're going to jump over to the other section here. We'll come back here in a couple minutes. Here's a Whizzer. Whizzer made bicycle conversions, but they also made this one, which is specifically built by Whizzer, the whole frame and everything. Well, let's see what we got in here. There's all kinds of emblems. Look at all the different emblems there. There's one for Minerva. That's a big, impressive one. Heavy cast brass. Now this is interesting. They have all kinds of emblems, and they have a marked Buick, Cadillac, Chevy, Chrysler. These are horn buttons, those. I don't know if they all are. Yeah, it looks like mostly horn buttons. Big horn button collection. Oh yeah, here we go. Tells all about it there. Mercury, Oldsmobile. There's all different ones up here. There's a Plymouth one. It's kind of a cool collection. It's gonna go around the sidewall here, trying to catch us as quick as we can to show you it all before we get booted out here. Nice little 67 Honda motorbike. There's some fire collectibles here. Look at the fire horns. Those are pretty impressive right there. Helmet. All kinds of different little models and stuff. Some nice. There's a fire bucket back when they had the bucket brigades. There's a Benelli 1976. These are all sample license plates. Notice the numbers on them, zeros or 1, 2, 3s. Those are all the sample license plates from all the different states. See our home state right there, South Dakota, 1963. Here's a Peugeot bike and another Honda there. And we got some more Tucker stuff in here. Tucker Hall of Fame. But we'll jump back over to the motorcycle section here. There's a 1906 Paragon. It tells a little history of it there, made in Detroit. They also have This is the international section. See the tab on top? But all the mascots. Some of these are pretty impressive. Look at that Minerva one. All kinds of different mascots. Rolls Royce. There's a Vespa. You can see we're up on the second level here. Little Honda 350, 1970. Here's some of the American manufacturers. Got some nice Cadillac ones in there, Buicks. This is a cool Buick one there, the Mercury. Some of these we've had, some of them are pretty rare. I've never seen. Nash ones. Here's a Terraplane. I've had that Terraplane one before. There's a Duesenberg one there, and a Diana. Quite a collection of them. This is a cool one too, the airplane, Franklin airplane. Here's a 66 Vespa. 59 Allstate. This is an impressive collection of all these emblems. Look at them all. That's quite a one there, 1930 Studebaker. Looks like the devil there. So anyway, there's a bunch of mascots. Those are more foreign ones. Those are all French. We'll get some more bikes here. A little Harley Davidson. This is cool. Scat Kitty. There's a Suzuki. Team Honda there. And we got a Honda 1962 right here. Tells all about it. So there's a whole ring of little, it's a 77 Honda, you know, little dirt bikes and small motorcycles. We're gonna jump through that door over there. It says Studebaker Story back there. Here's all the Great Britain mascots there. Pretty cool. This one's nice here. More from Great Britain. Look at that one back there. Rover with the head on it. There's a little Suzuki dirt bike. Harley Davidson scooter, 1960. There's a Rickman, 1972 Rickman, and a Derby, 1981 Derby. There it is, Studebaker Story. Back in here we'll see some Studebaker stuff, I'm sure. Nice sign right there. This tells the whole history of Studebaker, starting in 1830, going all the way over to 1979. And there's all kinds of different stuff in here. Different memorabilia pieces from Studebakers and little models and stuff. Studebaker Jack, here's a promotional model truck. That's a good piece right there, die-cast promo. Studebaker batteries even. Well, that's it for the Studebaker room, and that's about all we're going to be able to do here because it's coming up on closing time. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. We do all kinds of automotive and antique stuff. Not only museums and stuff, but swap meets and junkyards and about anything you can imagine. So check out all our other videos. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. Give us thumbs up, give us good comments. All those things are really appreciated. And thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the next round.